This past week, I visited a friend and stayed with him for a couple days. And I usually do this once or twice a year. And so one morning, as I was having breakfast, he said, "What's going on with you? You know, you seem like distant. You don't seem like you're all quite there." And I was like, well, I don't think I was different. I didn't think anything of it. But he just kind of pointed it out to me. And so then I had to say, well, do I accept it or reject it? Do I say, well, you know, why are you saying this? I mean, I see you twice a year maybe. How are you supposed to be telling me this? Or I could accept it. And if I accept it, then do I accept his reasoning? And most importantly, do I accept that I need to change? That I have to do something different? We see that I read this and I have this experience in light of today's readings, where the first reading is the prophet Ezekiel. Ezekiel is charged by God to preach to the Israelites to get them to repent. And he says, yeah, I know they won't listen to you, but they will know that there is a prophet has been in their midst. They will know that. And I thought, well, again, who is Ezekiel? I mean, it's not like we have it in Hollywood where all of a sudden, you know, right there in the center of the TV screen or the screen is the prophet. And of course, they have the prophet's clothes, so you can quickly identify them. But he probably looked like any other Jew in that time. How could they see? You know, did they want to listen to him? I mean, after all, it's easier to listen to someone saying, oh, you're great, you're fine, you don't need to change, you're doing an amazing job. Oh, well, yeah, I'll listen to that all day long. But when you're when you're having to say a difficult word, it's a lot harder. That's where we're at with St. Paul. Paul is given a thorn in the flesh. And who knows what it is? We could drag it on and say whatever it is. But basically, it's an obstacle to him. An obstacle that he wants God to relieve him of. Basically, he wants the spiritual life on easy mode, so that he really doesn't have to struggle all that much. Take away this thorn of the sin, make it all smooth and level for me, so I really don't have to struggle. And God says no. He says, my grace is sufficient for you. You got to work. And he finally comes to accept that. And he changes, or he at least bears the thorn of the flesh willingly. And so then we get to Jesus. Here it is. Oftentimes people say to me, well, if I had been in Jesus' time, I had followed him, and I would have done everything. And it's like, no, you wouldn't. Jesus comes to his people, and as long as he's preaching some sort of positive message, they're great. But then when he tries to preach something that challenges them, where did he get all this? Isn't he the brother of James, Joseph, Judas, and Simon? Where did he get all this? Who is he to tell us what to do? And they don't listen to him. And they miss out. And I think sometimes we miss out too. Because it's not where these people are something 2,000 years ago, but they're us today. That Jesus comes into our lives, or he sends a messenger to us, whether it might be from a family member, a friend, even a stranger, or even an enemy, or a boss, or a coworker. Someone that, out of love, reaches out to us and tells us something about ourselves that we might not see. Tells us how we have been affecting someone else and that we might not know. And it's then that we can say, well, who are they to tell us? I will not listen to this person. Or we can actually listen to it and then accept that grace, that, like Paul, saying that, okay, I will try. I will either bear this burden or I will try to overcome it with God's grace. God is there with us all the time. He's preaching out to us in the events of daily lives. May we listen to those people who reach out to us, who are emissaries of Christ, emissaries who are the prophets telling us of God's love but also of his challenges.